morning, good afternoon, and good evening, viewers. Welcome once more to Requiem for London. Our scene is set this night as Miss Emma Bellefleur is led through a particular cemetery in London. Earlier in the evening, a courier came by with a handwritten invitation to her to come to Highgate Cemetery. It's a very strange request, but nonetheless there are instructions on the card. And when she's shown up, she found that there was somebody waiting for her who led her through the graveyard, through the ancient and sometimes verdant lanes, to a particular mausoleum. Waiting at the entrance, the figure simply beckoned them inside. And as she steps into this mausoleum, she can smell a particular foulness in the air, a particular stench, not of the dead, not of the rotting, but of dead things, of rotten things, things that still move, things that prey upon men. The smell that she can take in, if she was to will it.
Emma
It,
will go on.
it stinks of the beast. You are getting the feeling that you are not alone in this mausoleum. And very slowly the door begins to close behind you with a very, not loud, but very audible as the hinges have not been oiled in probably years, perhaps on purpose.
Okay. Yeah, she'll put her scarf over her nose, and she'll look around to see if she can see anyone. See the person that closed the door or something.
Oh no, nothing like that. Despite your senses, you appear to be the only one in this now. Very dark, almost pitch black. But that is the key there, isn't it? Almost pitch black. There is light coming from somewhere. And very slowly you'll begin to hear the sound of stone moving and the room getting ever more illuminated. As on the other side of a door that was hidden in a wall, a figure emerges, a robed figures in dirty, I'd say brownish yellow attire. Their face is partially obscured, but you can smell that they have a foulness to them. The individual smiles at you, their teeth is a sickly yellow hue.
Emma will trying not to be rude. She'll take her scarf off and she'll bow as Kid would do, and she'll say hello.
As he will smile and say, "Welcome, our newest initiate. Please step right this way. The bishop will be seeing you shortly. I will lead you through the winding paths beneath the grave to the chapel of Highgate, our church's most sacred site here in London. Please, right this way."
And she'll smile when she'll say very well, and she'll follow him.
And he will begin to lead you. Even though it is rather dark, the hallways of this catacomb-like structure that begins to snake beneath the graveyard is lit ever so slightly by, you would say, small lamps, sort of just built into the walls. They do seem very old, but something that would not have been around in the most ancient times of London. This is a more modern invention, and it seems that the keepers of this place are making use of modern functions, electricity, gas, whatever you will, in order to make sure that fire isn't brought into the place. And it is by this dim illumination that this hooded figure leads you. And after going through this labyrinthian path, pathways and trails, you eventually come before great double doors, and he will, much like the original person who led you in here, just sort of stand before them but to the side, so that way you can move past him to the doors. They are very old looking now, older than the hallways, and they are adorned, although made of metal, to look like the door is made of hundreds of skulls, all tightly packed in next to each other.
Welcoming. Emma will bow um, to the, well, she presumes is the bishop, and she'll say, "Hello, is there
Oh no,
something?"
the figure who led you is just basically standing. The doors are closed right now.
Okay. I'll just wait in front of the door. And yeah, oh, actually, yeah, no, she might. Oh no, she stands next to the door. She might open it herself.
The figure just sort of gestures for you to open the door with a simple, "Don't be afraid. Go on ahead. The bishop is inside.
And she'll
He
smile.
requested to speak to you alone, so you need not worry about our prying ears. But we are around if you have any more questions or when you want to find your way back. Just say the word, and someone will come to lead you out."
She'll smile and she'll say thank you, and she'll walk right in.
Right as you open the doors, the room on the other side is very different than the very claustrophobic, very tightly packed labyrinth that you had just walked from. Inside, you will see a truly marvelous sight. Old architecture, rows of pews, a grand carpet leading up to an altar on the far end, great murals carved overhead, and many pillars stretching down on each side of the room. There is a strangeness to this room, though. The walls seem to bulge, seem to contort as though they were shapes, maybe even things on the other side trying to burst forth, but it is unmoving, and it is just carved stonework. Or so you think. In the flickering light of the lamps, it almost looks like the walls do move. And although nothing is explicit, out of the corner of your eye, your mind puts together images of hands against what could be a fleshy wall, faces, bodies desperately trying to escape.
She'll just continue. She'll see if yeah, she'll just go on and see if she can find anyone. Look around.
Hmm. As you enter the center of the rows of pews, you can see that at the far end where the altar is, you will see a great statue. You will recognize it as a statue of Longinus, depicting the founder of this covenant, the Church Eternal, immortalized in an idealized form and stance. You can also smell old blood upon the statue, and kneeling before it, you'll see an individual much like the one at the door, except he is wearing much more whiter, cleaner looking robes. But his skin, his eyes, his breath is raspy and rotten, far more so than the individual who led you in here. He looks very much not like a corpse, but of some perhaps charred cinder of a man. Nothing left but ashes after the fire has burned away everything else.
Um, and she'll Well, she'll wait till she'll sit at the pews waiting for him to turn around, not wanting to be rude and interrupt him in his prayers.
As you do so, you will notice. That was weird. You will notice that he's not really saying anything, but he does appear to be in prayer.
Yeah, she'll wait a little bit at least, see if he finishes after a while.
A couple minutes go by, and he does stop. He does rise. He does turn to greet you. And you will see his shrunken eyes, his yellowish shrunken eyes, maybe even goldish, but it's a sickly color, much like his own appearance. And a raspy voice will emerge between his lips and rotted teeth. And you can detect the certain smell of sulfur as he says, "Welcome, welcome, welcome
Emma,
to Highgate, Emma Bellefleur."
Emma, having stood up when he was turning around, when she saw he was turning around, will now bow, and she'll say, are they supposed to call him Bishop, or are they more something more they're going to supposed to call him, or?
I think Bishop would be fine in this instance.
She'll bow.
Or just Father, whatever religious term of respect it would be.
Yeah, she'll bow and she'll say, "Good evening, Father."
As he will smile, and again, although it is not as yellowish and rotten as the person who led you here, it is very uneven and jagged, almost like a mouth full of needles, just sort of crushing up against each other, trying to fit within this shriveled up visage you see before you. But nonetheless, there is a soft resonance in that voice, that raspy voice, as he says, "I have heard many great things about you, Emma Bellefleur, the first initiate that we have had in years who passed her trials with such grace."
And she'll smile and goes, "Thank you."
Have you been enjoying your stay back in the city?
Um, she'll smile. She'll say, "I was till last night."
His smile drops, just sort of looks at you and goes, "Is something the matter, child?"
She'll say, "Someone that I had thought as a friend tried to eat me." And she'll have a bit of anger to her voice when she said that.
The act of consuming another kindred is a violation of one of the most sacred of traditions. It is no small task. What on earth could have prompted such a thing?
She'll
I am
say,
glad that you are all right, though, Miss Bellefleur.
she'll smile and she'll say, "Yes, one called Mr. McGee had told me I could go to him to his actually he had told me I could feed in any he allowed me to feed in any places that were owned by the Carthians, and he told me I could come to his shop and that he would give me vitae and he wouldn't ask for anything back."
Say no more, young initiate. I believe I actually know the one of which you speak. It is a shame. The Carthians are supposed to be friendly towards the church, or at least that is what has been promised. I will look into this. If one of the Carthians tries to commit a horrendous act of amaranth against not just one of our laity, but a member of the church in full, one who has gone through the initiation rites, that is a grave crime that will need to be punished. We will give our friends the benefit of the doubt, of course. Perhaps this was all just some big misunderstanding.
Shall say, I'd rather think it was. I had a good relationship with him until then.
Do not let your guard down for the laity, Miss Bellefleur. I've called you here because it is not every night that we run into someone who has such devotion to the cause as you. And I think you could show to the other neonates of the city, be a bit of an example, as it were, that our church is not some relic of the past, that our words and our presence matters, because it does. It is for the very reason that you were chased, to remind the kindred, to be that moral core. I
I shall.
have another worry, though. There are outsiders in our midst as well. I can give our Carthian friends the benefit of the doubt, but that is only because I know where they stand. I know their investments, what they hold on to, what keeps one foot firmly planted on the earth. The outsiders, there is no such balance, no such insight.
And shall smile. Guys, what am I to do?
I ask if you are willing, Miss Bellefleur. I ask that you, first, be a voice on our behalf, for the other covenants, for the laity. I have heard that your pilgrimage gave you training in this regard. Your sire was wise to teach you in the ways of the courts, first and foremost. It is a school of thought that a lot of our kind avoid. Some of our kind focus too much on the expression of our purpose, the ritual, trials, the predation of man. But that is only one half of kindred existence. We must also be that moral center, and for that we must ingratiate ourselves within the kindred courts of London. In that I think you can do quite well. An event is coming up very soon. The Royal Elysium, the first since our new prince claimed Praxis, is on the horizon. I would like you to begin early. begin to show them that our covenant is a welcome addition to the princedom, more so than the bloody heretics of the Circle or the Order. Those who would blind themselves with hubris or doubly damn themselves by celebrating the flames of hell.
Yeah,
The
sure.
second thing I want you to do, I want you to watch over someone for me. There is another neonate much like yourself who is in the city. He was recently adopted by an outsider, but he is not. He goes by the name of Jack Callahan. He, unbeknownst to all but myself and very few, is now the adopted childer of our new Inquisitor, the one who has replaced your sire, the one who has come from overseas, the one whose footing I am unaware of, and who has the authority and the support to pass judgment that he is not qualified for. I think he's going to use this childer to spy within our order. There is ripe room for abuse, especially manipulating one as young as he, someone who has not even had the proper creation rites performed upon him yet. It is a very sad situation, Miss Bellefleur. You could be this individual's guiding star, someone of the city of London, who can show him the proper path. Would you do this for me, Miss Bellefleur? Would you take up these two great tasks on behalf of myself and the church?
I shall say, of course, it is a pleasure to serve the church. I shall say, for the first task, which individual in particular am I supposed to contact?
There are several. I know of one. You know of one. I believe so, at least. Are you familiar with the adopted sire of the one who dared to try and commit amaranth against you?
I don't think he told her about him. There's about him, so she'll say can't say I am.
It is possible that you are being led like a lamb. You must make sure that this predator who turned his fangs against you knows that you are the wolf that guides the flock. He is a servant of a kindred named John Ernest, a powerful member of the Carthian movement. I know John, and I will put in a word for you to have a meeting with him. You are to be a liaison, since very shortly the blood moon will be upon us, and one of our most sacred rite must be prepared for, in part to ensure the festivities go without interruption, and to do countermeasures against the other heathens that will try and mock the miracles and signs of Longinus's place in the lives of the kindred. This will give you a chance to mingle amongst the Carthians, but they are not the only ones. There is also another individual in the city. She has been revealed to be the child of the sheriff, the enigmatic Black Hand, the hand of the prince. She might be the key to ingratiating yourself amongst the Invictus. She goes by the name of Adriana Abruzzo. I know nothing more upon her, but I know how you can contact her. And my assistant, my knight, Father Daniel, will give you the information you need.
She'll nod. Is there anyone else?
There may be one. There is rumors going around the cacophony. Our scribes who listen to the babbles and the signs on the walls, the hidden messages upon the streetlights scrawl. They believe that there's another individual of interest in this city. It is rumored that she might be a member of those damnable dragons, the Defiant. But she has been proving to be the epicenter of a lot of attention, and nonetheless may need an eye kept on. The dragons are heretics. Do not forget those facts. They would spit in the eyes of God, knowing none the while that they damn their eternal souls to torment the likes of which they cannot possibly imagine. Her name is Nora Hillingham, and unfortunately I do not have a number for her. You are on your own to find this individual, but I know that she was last staying at the out of character, the Hilton Hotel.
She'll say, very well. It's funny because Adriana knows, Emma knows her but doesn't know her name. Knows her as Zima.
Oh, interesting. Well, and who back in scene?
Let's see. She has her card, probably does, but her says apparently her card just says Zima on it, her artist name, and she'll say, "Very well, I will get on to the tasks you have given me."
Keep an eye out for those who keep to the shadows. There are fools in this city who know not that the night is not our friend. Let me give you this piece of advice. It is the last bit of advice that an old man like me can give the young like you. And you will not be the first I have told, and you will not be the last. Fear the darkness, Emma Bellefleur. Our kind is damned, but in being damned, chosen by God to fulfill a important and sacred task, to be the ones who bring out what is good and right and just in man. But there are things far worse, far darker, and far more powerful than us that haunt the places man does not tread. You will learn about these individuals, these beings, these things soon enough. And I pray that you will show caution and know where not to tread.
She'll bow again and say farewell. I will help the church as much as I can.
You will smile and say, "Oh, but listen to me, listen to me. I am now coming across as a doom peddler, a doomsayer, a bringer of ill tidings. This is a happy occasion for you, young Emma. let me extend my gratitude in a way that does not highlight the dangers of our existence. As a reward for your diligence, I would like to extend an invitation that you visit me in my haven one of these nights in the future. One of the greatest arsenals at our disposal is the use of Theban sorcery, the miracles handed down by the angel Amaniel to Saint Daniel beneath Thebes in the ancient past. I do not know if you will have the talent, but I can at least give you some instructions, and perhaps you will prove just as adept at them as you were at your initiation rites.
She'll smile and goes, I will take you up on the invitation.
You show a lot of promise. Perhaps someday you will be an anointed member yourself, and this city will have a new parish, one in which you will guide a new flock. But do not let pride cloud your judgment. Remember, fear the darkness. Fight for the sanctity of the kindred soul and the souls of men. Prove true to your role as a predator of God.
She'll bow and she'll say, perhaps before I leave, I should tell you more about exactly how the night with McGee went.
As he furrows his brow but says nothing, but it looks like he's paying a great deal of attention to you as you say this.
She'll say, I came to him after the ritual that made me part of the church. I was feeling hungry, and I took McGee up on his offer, thinking he would be a welcoming host. I came to his shop and was led down to the basement, and there he did have vitae waiting for me. I drank, and at a particular moment, he gave me a vitae from another bottle, and asked me to guess what was in there, and seemed to get agitated, seemed to get nearly aggressive when I couldn't guess what it was. I couldn't guess. He told me it was animal vitae, but couldn't guess. I couldn't guess for the life of me what it was, and I told him I apologized, that I wanted I wanted to know what it was. I guess I told him I was a bit ashamed, not knowing, not guessing, not being able to guess what the source of the vitae was, and he didn't think I was being sincere, and asked for blood. And guys, as a mark of friendship, I did bleed and shall say only a few drops in a glass. Just said he would know that I was sincere and that I saw him as a friend. That's when he also told me that he could control himself into not drinking the blood. And guys, she asked, she'll say she asked to smell the blood, sorry, not drink. And she'll say, and he told me he could control himself into not drinking the blood. However, seemed that he wasn't sincere himself, and ended up frenzying and drinking the blood, and chased me out of the butcher shop, trying to eat me.
The bishop remains silent.
Guys, I shall say I am ashamed of my lack of judgment of character on him. I thought he was a better gentleman.
And what made you think that, young Emma?
He says he showed me that he could hold himself. The first night I met him, I told him to, because he was very nosy. Literally, he tried to smell me. He tried to, when I told him to back off, he did. She'll say, I could tell that he was trying to fight his, whatever was telling him to smell me. And I thought that he could control himself. More than that, I thought he was a gentleman. I had thought highly of him because of he had done so. And now and last night he showed me he wasn't all that much of a gentleman and tried, as I said, tried to eat me.
What do you think changed between the night that you first met him and now?
She'll say, I'm not sure, maybe having a smell of my actual vitae took something took something inside him, made something come out. But if that is the case, he should have known it would take hold of him. He should not have lied to me and told me he could handle it.
Bishop ponders what you're saying for a while, and then he asks a question to you this time. He says, Emma, why do you suppose it is that the blood, the vitae, is so intoxicating to us, to all who drink of it?
She'll say, I'm not sure. I've heard that drinking a blood from another member of our society, if you will, is very addicting and therefore is forbidden to do so without one's allowance. I am not sure why it is so enticing, why it is so addicting. It is something I have been wondering.
Our
Perhaps
scholars.
yes, I guess perhaps it is another way of another sign of curse by God.
He'll smile and he will say, our scholars and theologians have been wondering that same thing since the dawn of the curse. I personally think it is a matter that the vitae itself is the ultimate taboo, the ultimate sin. For it is natural for man to feed upon animal, to hunt the beasts in the wild, or raise the lamb for the slaughter, to feast upon the flesh, to pick clean the bone, and to repurpose what is left to aid in man's life, and in exchange show either respect or care to the prey. But the vitae is different. It is a pure expression of life. It is a taste of one's very soul itself. That is why amaranth is so dangerous. There is nothing easier than sin, Emma Bellefleur. Crime is hard. Violence, atrocities, is difficult. It takes a terrible kind of courage to commit an atrocity, but sin is easy. Sin is easy to justify, to indulge, to let go, to want. The vitae is the font of sin. It is necessary for us to fulfill our oath to God, but it is also what binds us. It is the manifestation of our covenant with the Almighty. That is what I have come to understand, Emma.
I shall say, perhaps you are right, Father. It is, in case it does seem, I shall say, it does seem like something that could be right. It seems it's a way. It's a goes most. It's the sorry, goes from all um reasons I have heard. Yours sounds like the one I would believe the most.
Thank you. I am honored that you would put stock in my own personal theories.
That
And we here at the Highgate congregation do our best to seek out the lost lore, to make sure that it does not fall into the wrong hands, to pierce the veil, as it were, to better understand. There are others in the Diocese of London that delve further into the nature of the curse, but that is not our place. We are more interested in what has been written about before, what has come before its discovery. And it is through that that I have come to these theories. Perhaps you will be able to add to them too someday. But that is still farther off. Now it looks as though the hour grows late. I thank you again, Miss Bellefleur, for coming here.
shall bow and shall say, thank you for your hospitality, Bishop.
Perhaps this McGee is not too late to be saved and shown the error of his ways.
Shall say, if I can apologize, I am willing to see him as a friend again.
Apologies come hard for our kind, Emma. For a vampire to sin is natural. It is part of our existence. The difference that we must strive for in the Highgate sanctum is to master sin, to take that beast, to funnel it into a narrow corner so that we are able to control its actions, so that it does not control us, so that it does not drag our souls down into the fires, so we do not lose who we are. That is why we must be the moral center, Emma. We are human no more, but we are still individuals, and the beast will seek to destroy any vestige of the individual until only hunger in sin remains.
Shall bow. Thank you. We shall say thank you for tonight. At that, I will take my leave. And she'll bow again, and she'll slowly leave the room.
Do take care, Miss Bellefleur. May we meet again, and soon.
She'll say, I look forward to it, and she'll get out. And on her way out, when she meets the guy that followed her, his knight, she'll say, The bishop told me you could give me could give me Adriana. What's her last name?
Abruzzo.
You could give me Adriana Abrizzo's contact.
As he'll smile again with those gross, yellowish teeth and say, "Of course I can. Although I would not ask for her directly. Here, take this." And he'll give you a phone number for Chimera Security. Say that you request an audience with a specialist, and that should do the trick. Now, is there anything else I can help you with?
Um, shall say, no, nothing for now. Thank you very much.
And as this individual begins to lead you out, you will feel something very interesting for a brief moment. This sudden gust of wind go past you. It even blows your hair.
Sure, probably like for less than just less than a second when she feels the gust of wind, she'll stop, and then she'll um walk again.
Uh, Father Daniel will look at you and say, "Is everything all right?"
She'll say, yes, just felt well a gust of wind. I'm sure there's nothing to worry about.
"Yes, this place can be a bit drafty sometimes. Come right this way." And he'll begin leading you out. And as Emma is led out of the Highgate chapel, back into the cemetery proper, and once more into the night, we will go back for a brief moment to the bishop as he is alone again as the door is beginning to close. That brief gust of wind will put its hand upon the door so that way it does not fully slam, and enter a robed figure, one who used a great amount of swiftness and celerity to get past the individuals without being seen, something that he has grown quite accustomed to over the years. The bishop notices the man's entrance. This individual in a hooded robe, wearing a mask made out of a metal, perhaps bronze, perhaps copper. It is hard to tell in this dim light. But he approaches and then kneels several feet away from the bishop. The bishop looks down at him and says, "This is not a good time. You could have been caught. You could have threatened us all." But the individual just looks at him and says, "I know where they're planning to hit next." And with that, the bishop, all pretense of his status, his presence drops, as a concerned look appears upon his face now that there's just the two of them, now that they're just alone. He says, "Where?" The individual in the mask looks up. And what is said next? Well, viewers, that would be spoilers. For now, we leave those two individuals meeting in secret after Miss Bellefleur has finished meeting with the bishop. Thank you all for watching. And remember, fear the darkness.